Hey, hello again out there, everybody. This is Old Buck Dave back at you with
Old Buck Dell.
Old Buck
Hey,
Dale.
hanging out.
Hanging out. How's it hanging out down your way there, Mr. Dale?
It's hot.
It's hot.
It's
Oh,
hot. It's
boy.
hot. And I only have one thing I wanted to tell you. Because it's so hot, I tried to put a generic sunscreen in my window of my car.
Like copper tone?
No,
No.
you know what I
What?
mean. You know the little silver things.
The silver thing. Yeah, okay.
And I'm only. This is another perfect, public service announcement from myself. Is
Another
so,
PSA. Yeah.
so this thing is a universal, right? So which means it should fit everything. And of course, it's way too big for my car. I'll make a long story short, Dave. 3 hours later,
Three
I
hours later.
I put the duct tape down and the scissors away, and I finally figured out the correct folding procedure to get it to fit in the window. So I said, there you go. It's nothing straightforward and simple.
Well,
So
they're hard day
anybody
at the
trying that,
office, huh?
it can be done if you buy
It
that
can be
universal.
done. Just, oh, man.
Anyhow, that's the latest. A little bit of hilarity for getting old. And yourself, what's you up to?
I'm hot, not as hot as you, but it's still pretty hot up here in the north. I'm getting some trail riding in, which is nice. I didn't get to do any trail riding down south, and I only had one crash so far. I got a, a big scar across my chest, but no major injuries, nothing broken. Just my ego. Just felt like a fool slipping out in a mud puddle on a downhill dirt track kind of thing. So
Isn't that the way it happens?
that's the way
When
it
you least
happens
expect it?
when
When
you
you
least
least,
expect it. So I
yeah.
said it happens so fast. Yeah, that's why they call it an accident, I guess.
Did you look around to see if anybody noticed?
I did. I did. For- Fortunately, I was alone at the time.
Yeah, I know. But you still looked around because you're
Oh, I
embarrassed.
did. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so, well, you're still
Yeah.
okay. That's good. That's good.
Yeah. Oh, hey, I got a little bit of bad news to get out of the way here, but with some hopeful news, actually. Of
Okay.
course, you remember Dr. Vito, who we interviewed a while ago. He's
Yeah.
my riding buddy, and he's the university professor who drives a trolley car
Who
in his
drives the
off
trolley?
time.
Yeah.
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 Well, on our last bike ride, he started getting chest pains, and he got checked out. And it turns out he's going to need a double bypass. So he's got a double bypass coming up in 2 weeks. So,
Ooh.
excuse me, best to Dr. Vito on that. He's tough as nails. He's going to come through this with flying colors. So
No, that's still not a
not
fun
a fun
story
thing
there.
to do. Yeah,
Mm-mm. Well, all the best to him.
yeah,
We'll look forward to hearing from him. Maybe you can tell us about it.
yeah. Hey, I zoomed with some relatives and friends in Lithuania and Russia today. That was fun.
Oh.
It was yeah, I had a great time. So it was the 84th birthday of a woman that my mother-in-law used to babysit. My late mother-in-law used to babysit. And
Wow.
yeah, it was a fun. It was nice. It was nice. And there was a big feast going on there they were in Lithuania, most of them. But anyway, and
Well, I'm glad you were able to do that.
yeah. Hey, and I got a letter from afar. We got a letter from afar.
Okay.
This was from one of our regular Vixen listeners. She was commenting on my owl story. I recall that I mentioned we had a
Oh.
family of owls in the front yard, and they used to
Hmm.
barf hairballs down onto us. But
And your elm tree. Yeah.
in the elm tree, yeah, we liked them. We liked them. But the vixen said, she said, the owls were probably there to to protect the fairies that lived in the tree. And I think that's right. I think that was probably the reason.
Ah.
But that's all.
Little gnomes
So yeah, so people
in the
are,
garden
so
there.
we're still getting letters from afar. Send them in, folks. buckstwoold@gmail.com.
There you go.
That
There
would
you
be
go.
us. That would be us. Yeah. So
And we never know what they're going to comment about, but we're welcome. We welcome all the letters.
yeah, yeah. So as
So what else is new?
well, I think what else is new is actually this. We've got this is going to be another special episode where we're interviewing somebody.
Okay.
This is an old buck that we think has led an interesting life. He and I worked for the same company for a couple decades.
Wow.
He started there a little bit before I did, and he finished there a little bit after I did. We probably worked together about half of that time. And so, Bucks and Vixens, I would like everybody to welcome John Lazar. Hi, John. How you doing?
Hey, how you guys doing? Doing fine here.
Good. I'm glad we could hook up with you and give our listeners a glimpse of one boy's life, one one Buck's life. So,
and kind of intertwined in a way. A little interesting connection, isn't there, Dave?
yeah, we just before we went live here, we
Yeah.
stumbled across some interesting connections. So it's a
Yeah.
small
It's a
world.
small world. Yep.
Yeah, and
Very
so we're gonna talk about that. But hey, first, John, I'd like to find out a little bit about where you came from.
okay.
Where's the family from? Where's the old country, and how did you get to the U? How'd your family get here, and that sort of thing. So, what can you tell us about that?
Okay. Well, my paternal grandparents, they were Lazar, of course. Uh, they came over to this country from Slovenia uh, in around 1910. I'm not sure of the exact dates. They don't remember. It's really funny. Some of my relatives, I quizzed my relatives over the years about certain things. Some
Hmm.
of them had excellent memories about when they come over and things like that, and some of them not so much. But anyway, they came over around 1910. They lived around the city of Ljubljana in Slovenia.
Oh yeah, been there. Beautiful city.
Uh,
Yeah.
I've never been there, but anyway, uh, they came over in around 1910, and they got married in 1916. So,
Hmm.
and I'm not sure the circumstances how they met. When they both came over, they were living in a Moon Run outside of Pittsburgh.
Outside of Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And after they
Yeah.
married, they moved to Claridge, and then some few years later, my grandfather got a job in the coal mines in Hutchinson,
Pennsylvania.
yeah, Pennsylvania, outside of West Newton.
Southwest Pennsylvania. Yeah. Okay.
Right. So,
Sure.
uh, my maternal grandparents, they're the Kowalczyks. They came over from Ukraine. They both lived in a little town called, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this correctly, but it's Torchianovici. Torchianovici. It's real.
We're losing you, John.
Oh, I'm sorry. You hear
I'm
me?
sorry. Okay, you're back. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry. Maybe if I move my head, I'm getting away from the mic.
Yeah. You got to stay close to the speaker, to the
Anyway,
mic.
my maternal grandparents came from a town of again, I think it's pronounced Torchianovici.
I'll
And
take your word for it. Yeah.
it was near uh, it's KV. Oh, no, you pronounce that KV Ivy, KVU, or you maybe know better than I do.
Oh, I don't know, man. It's lots of tough.
I don't think we can
Not
pronounce those
Kiev.
names anymore, can
Not
we?
Kiev though, right?
It's
When they
close
were
to the Polish border. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they came over. My grandfather came over. We called him our Diddy. He came over in 1910, and my grandmother, we call her Baba. She came over in 1913. They married in 1915, and they lived in West Newton all their whole time. And my
Okay.
grandfather worked in the mills, mostly in McKeesport.
At
So
National Tube.
probably
Okay, great.
about
I worked
everybody
there.
worked. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's where everybody worked.
So
Hey, John, did you mention the Kowalczyks?
yes, yes.
I'll be darned. I'll be darned.
You know the Kowalczyks.
Oh, yes. Yes, I do. I remember the Kowalczyks. So,
Anyway, that's where we came from. Now uh, my mother and father, of course, my mother was born in West Newton, lived in West Newton until she got married. My dad, as I said, was born in Moon Run, and of course they met because he was living in Hutchinson, and I guess the Hutchinson guys would go to West Newton. My dad
Go
played
go to the big city.
go to the big city, and my dad played in bands at the time, so I think that's how they met. He was playing somewhere because he was a real musical guy.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, he played in bands, and they met in West Newton, and started dating and got married. After they got married, they moved to Philadelphia. My dad was working for the Navy, building ships.
Okay, he worked at the Philadelphia shipyard there?
Right. Yep. And I
The
got
Navy Yard.
and I was
Yeah.
born. Yeah, I was born in Philadelphia, and I lived in Philadelphia till I was about 10 years old. And then my dad, the Naval Yard, the jobs at the Naval Yard were getting sketchy, so he got a job with Westinghouse in Blairsville. and we moved to Blairsville, and and that's how I ended up.
So
Yeah, yeah,
that's how you got to Blairsville.
yep,
Okay.
yep,
Back and forth across the state.
yep, yeah. We did a lot of traveling back and forth. And again, in the summers, I would spend all my summers in West Newton, so
And
with my
and I would
grandparents or cousins.
and I would tell some of the listeners these were very small towns,
Yes.
very very small little five sometimes 50 homes, 500 homes or something. Very small towns, and I guess they all still exist. They're all still there.
Oh yeah, yeah. I went
So
back to I went back to Hutchinson with my sister a couple of years ago just to find out where my grandparents lived, and it's changed considerably because the coal mine's gone and a lot of things are gone, but it's still there. People still live there.
yeah,
So
yeah, geez. So we probably crossed paths as kids
probably.
a lot. I mean, Dale lived in that same area where your relatives were, as I recall. That's what we were discovering here just a few minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
and my grandparents lived on Water Street. That's
Okay.
where my dad grew up. So it's amazing. So
Mm-hmm.
what was that store on the corner? Do you remember that?
Pilarski, Stanley Pilarski. We used to go to Pilarski's store all the time. We spent a lot of time.
Does that sound familiar, Dale?
No,
Tiny
Stanley
farm.
Pilarski. That was a great little shop. Great fresh
Yeah.
vegetables and run up there for candy. It was
Yeah.
unbelievable.
He
Little
had,
wooden building.
he had the comic books with the covers cut off of them that he would sell right when you came in the door there. They were
The discount,
so cheap.
they're like 3 cents or something, right?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, I had forgotten all about that. Yeah, Pilarski store.
Yeah.
Yeah, we buy
Spent a lot
that.
of time there.
Oh man, that's amazing.
That was what was neat. I grew up in the city and going to West Newton for the summers. Boy, it was just so nice because you could just, the town was small and you could just go anywhere you wanted, and do what you wanted.
Do what you want to do.
Hey,
Yeah.
John, did you ever get down to the river?
Oh yeah. Well, my grandparents, the Kowalczyks, they lived down on Blackburn Street. So,
Yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah.
the river was right across the tracks there.
that's right. River tracks.
What would we call that area, Dale?
That was Bull Run. wasn't
Bull
it?
Run. Yeah, that was Bull Run. That's where all the tough guys lived.
This sounds like 1950s memories or something like that, eh?
Yeah, it's amazing. I didn't expect we'd uncover all this. This is great.
Yeah.
So
Dave, talking about that, isn't it interesting? After all these years and all these miles and all this distances and everything, that we were able to rock into somebody that knew us as
yeah,
boys.
that's
There's a
amazing.
chance. Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't that something?
A lot of kids we ran around with back then, and played a lot down in Blackburn Street.
Hmm.
Yeah, you remember Ray and Henry?
See, I don't remember names. It's my problem.
Okay.
I'm lousy with names, so I might have met somebody, but just don't remember their names.
There was a lot of kids on that old street down there between the tracks, by the tracks. A lot of
Yes.
young boys. There was a boy by the name of Phillips. You ever remember him? Phillips?
See, like I said, I actually got photographs of me with kids down there. They're on their bicycles and that my father took, but I don't
Wow.
remember their names at all.
Well, he lived, John, you know what Blackburn looked like.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay. It was a tiny little homes down there. And that boy lived down near the Crossing Inn. You remember where the Crossing Inn was at? Down by the supermarket?
By the tracks.
Okay, down by the track. Okay, yeah, down by the supermarket. Yep.
There was a dilapidated old house right
Okay.
down there.
There was a lot of dilapidated houses.
That's
This was sad. This was sad. He lived in a very dilapidated house. The boy today is a multimillionaire.
No kidding.
Just to let you know, from that little corner right down there by the bar. He is now a multimillionaire. So I'll be darned.
He's not doing a podcast, I'll bet.
He's not, I am having an amazing flashback here. I'm telling you, this is.
Jeez.
So anyhow, don't let me go ahead, carry on, Dave. I'm getting all.
Oh, that's okay. That's all right. So any incidents, episodes in West Newton that stuck out in your mind?
Not so much West Newton. Again, they were great summers, but when I was living in Philadelphia for the the 10 years that I grew up in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
Uh,
tell us
I
about
was
Philadelphia.
in 1954. The I was in the Boy Scouts, okay, and the citywide Boy Scouts decided to make a big deal about the Boy Scouts, so they wanted to do a feature, so they picked a an African American Explorer Scout, an Asian Boy Scout, and a Caucasian Cub Scout, and I was a Caucasian Cub Scout, and
Ah,
we had our photographs in all the papers. We got to meet the mayor. We had posters and pictures and everything.
ah,
It was just
nice.
great. Yeah.
You
So
you were a Philadelphia
my,
celebrity.
my 15 minutes of fame back then.
Oh,
The
that's
other thing,
great.
I was in the drummer bugle corps. I marched in those those parades, those big parades they had on New Year's Day.
Oh, the Mummers.
Yeah, well, we were with the Mummers. We were just a drum and bugle corps.
Okay,
They
okay,
used to be
yeah.
in every town. Everybody
Yeah.
had a
Well,
couple of
yeah,
those
they'd
guys.
have those
Yeah.
competitions. I know. Yeah, we had our own
Outfits, you wear your
local drum and
outfits.
bugle corps.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. It's just there's those are the kinds of things that I remember a lot from Philadelphia.
Hmm.
Uh, and I enjoyed my time there, but I was young, so what I
Which part of Philly did you live in, if I may
we lived in
ask?
South Philly. My
South
dad
Philly.
was my
Okay.
dad was living in it was kind of like military housing, just not too far from
Okay,
the
so you'd
yard,
be close to the
close
Navy
to the
Yard,
Navy
of
Yard.
course. Yeah,
Yeah,
yep.
so it was on South Philly.
Easy commute. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. We didn't have a
Interesting.
car back then. We didn't have a car, so uh, mostly we walked everywhere, or we
Uh-huh.
went uptown. We took the either a streetcar or a bus. More likely the streetcar at that time. So
We're darned.
Yeah, fortunately, we have our listeners are mostly our age, so they'll know what a streetcar is. But there are probably people out there like, "What's a streetcar?"
We should
That's
also tell our listeners we really are indulging ourselves in some wonderful nostalgia. I gotta
yeah,
say,
yeah. I'm
yeah.
sorry, just you have to put up with us. This is great, though.
I want to know how you made the jump into metallurgy. Metallurgy.
okay, and so here's the thing. Okay, uh, when I was growing up, I had a lot of interest. First off, my interest has always been since I was a kid, a little kid, trains. I love trains, and a lot of it was, going to West Newton. My grandfather, my Diddy, he would take me down to the tracks all the time and watch the trains. And of course, he lived on Blackburn Street, so he would
Yeah,
take
You
the
didn't have
trains
to
down.
go far.
yeah,
Yeah,
right backyard.
yep, yep. And so I kind of fell in love with trains back then, and it's been like a lifelong thing. But my other interest over the years has been electronics. I really was into electronics, and I wanted to be an electrical engineer. So that's all. My parents instilled education was very important, and they still instilled in us the importance of a college education. So myself and my three siblings, we all went to college, all graduated college. Uh, but anyway, I went into college to be an electrical engineer. Went to Penn State. After about 2 years, first 2 years in all engineering is this stuff. It's all the same
It's
class,
all the same. Yeah.
and a lot of physics, and that's and no problem with those. But then in my junior year, I went into electrical engineering, and I didn't like it right off the bat. I didn't like it was all calculations, these here phase calculations. Anyway, I didn't like it, and I told my dad I didn't like it. And he says, well, you ought to maybe, decide what you want to do. So I took some survey courses. I went and spent a semester. Well, actually, Penn State had what they call trimesters. There was like 3
Yeah.
trimesters.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I took a trimester and I took a bunch of survey courses. And one of the survey courses was, I did geology, but one of them was metallurgy. And I really liked metallurgy, really fell in love with metallurgy. So I became a metallurgist. took me an extra year to go through Penn State to do that. So it was 5 years because I switched majors. But that's how I
Jo-
became a metallurgist.
John, you're not going to believe this. I started out as an electrical engineer.
No kidding. I didn't know that.
Got to the stuff. Didn't like it. Didn't like it. Took a survey course of like 5 different engineering, a couple weeks of each. And for the metallurgical one, I had George Dieter. You probably used his textbook.
I think I remember that name. Yeah.
Mechanical.
Yeah.
He was the instructor for the metallurgical part, and I thought, man, this is for me. And
Man,
I switched to metallurgical, and
it's funny. It's the
I had
same.
to go. I had to go like a couple, extra term or two to square up. But yeah,
Yep. Yep. Well, I
uh,
ended up
Hey,
going a whole extra year. And the whole reason I had to go the extra year is because there were certain courses I needed that they only gave one time a year.
they only offer them certain
So,
times. Yep, that old trick.
what I had to do was to maintain a full time student. I had to take all these other, easy courses just to fill in the get the credits. And I took movie making and pottery and you name it, those kinds of courses. So
Oh,
hey,
photography,
hey, guys, I got a secret.
uh-oh.
I always wanted to be a metallurgist.
really.
I was going to sign up from that from the get go, and then I said, does it involve any math?
It would have been worse if it involved spelling.
Yeah. And they said, yeah, quite a bit actually. I said, maybe I better switch over to kindergarten classes or something. So, something I can manage. Anyhow, I'm glad you guys both made it because obviously it led to an interesting career, both of you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So tell us about once you became a graduate. How did you enter the professional world?
Uh, you mean how did I get into Kennemetal?
Yeah. Was that your first job out of college?
Absolutely, yeah. No, what
Wow,
happened?
you're a
Oh my.
lifer. You're a lifer.
I was a lifer. I They had like a job fair, Penn State, and
Uh-huh.
a whole bunch of companies came and interviewed us, and then he got offers from several different places, and probably the most attractive offer was from New Jersey Zinc in Allentown, but you know what? It's New Jersey Zinc in Allentown. I had to move and set up, residence there. Kennemetal give me an offer, and Kennemetal's just right down the road.
Right down the road from Blairsville.
So
Yeah.
I started thinking about it that way. I can live at home right now, and be a lot easier on the wall. I don't have to worry about
Yeah.
learning the area or anything.
Yeah.
So that's why I decided to go with Kennemetal. I also had a chance to go with vanadium alloy steel, and I'm really glad I didn't because the guys who come to recruit me about a year or so after I started Kennemetal, there was like a recession,
Yeah.
and those guys all got laid off.
They're gone. Yeah. They're gone. You made a wise decision there.
Yeah, yeah. As it turns out, you don't know those things at the time, but
Yep.
so.
Hey, Dave,
I'm here.
did you guys actually have to, if you were writing a report or something, did you have to spell titanium? Probably at least once.
Well, at
Yeah,
least once. At least once. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Another reason I flunked. That's fascinating, guys. Absolutely fascinating.
So tell us a little bit about your Kennemetal career, John. And we eventually bumped into each other
yeah,
there.
yeah. Well, I started in a Latrobe lab, uh, and I was, in fact, I tell you what, I did all the early development work on coated carbides. So I spent about a year or so doing that, and right at about a year after I started, they had a major shift in Kennemetal where they made all these different divisions, and
Mm-hmm.
I was asked to go to the metallurgical division. And
Mm-hmm.
when going to the metallurgical division, they sent me to Kingston.
Okay.
So I went to Kingston as a junior engineer. I worked on a development of dry carburization of solid solution carbides. Okay, so
Uh-huh.
uh, back then, if you wanted to make a solid solution carbide, it had to have been done by the Menstrom method, which was basically heating up. Uh, you could heat whatever. It was the advantage of the Menstrom process is you could heat whatever you wanted, like ore or scrap, and put it in the crucible in a
Cook it
melted metal,
cook it down, yeah.
cook it down, and then it had to leach out the Menstrom metal, and you end up with solid solution carbides. But it was very labor intensive,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of
Yeah.
chemicals. So they were looking at a way to do it by dry carburization. Dry carburization, you just put the oxides in the carbon in the crucible, and you carburize them, and it's simple. Sounds simple, but they don't solve solutions. So what happens is if you put, for instance, like tungsten and titanium carbide, if you put tungsten and titanium carbide and just carburize it, you're going to get tungsten and titanium carbide. No solved solution. What you want to do is you want to dissolve the tungsten carbide into titanium carbide. So whenever you do an X-ray diffraction on it, it looks like it's just titanium carbide. So anyway, I developed it.
See, Dale? See, don't you wish you were a metallurgist now?
Hey, John, did you remember?
The sad thing is, I know what he's talking about.
I know you do, and I said I can't even carbide and tungsten. Oh my! I'm trying to think how I would even spell those words. I feel it. Absolutely fascinating. Dave and I often talk about interesting people, and a man who enjoyed his work and did well at it, and probably achieved some things that we don't even know about. I find that interesting. I'm just sitting here enjoying the heck out of this. So,
yeah. Well, here's the thing. After I really enjoyed being an engineer. I really enjoyed that. And what happened was the guy who was a plant manager there, he passed away unexpectedly, and eventually I got to be made plant manager of that plant, and I was plant manager for a lot of years, kind of 30 years, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
But you know what? The management side is nowhere near as enjoyable as the engineering side of it. I really enjoyed going to work and doing what I was doing engineering wise. Management, there was a lot of days I don't even want to go to work. So
that's how the hair turns white, huh?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I can second that one. Yeah, we had some wild and crazy days. Jeez. Well, the interesting thing though, John, is you started there before I did, and it was a $300 million company when I started, and when I left, it was like $2.5 billion.
Right.
So I always tell people that that I worked for a bunch of different companies without ever quitting Kennametal. It was
right.
so many different cultures through the years, and you saw more of that than I did.
It really changed. Anyway, it was a good career.
Yeah.
You make choices, and sometimes you wonder if you made all the right choices, but maybe shouldn't have tried something different. But, at the end of the day, it was a good.
Yeah, but you did have a good career, and,
yep.
and everybody there respected you, and you were a top performer in the company, really. So, nothing to complain about there.
No.
Hey, I have a question.
Yeah.
John, you mentioned trains.
Mm-hmm.
Are you still interested in trains?
Oh, absolutely.
He was waiting for you to ask about that, man.
Oh, could that be another episode part 2 or something like that?
That is an excellent suggestion. I think we're going to have to make this a 2-parter to talk to John about all the interesting things that are yet to come. So let's talk today about family and some other things. And then we will schedule a part 2 to talk about trains specifically. All right, let me get something else. So I know, John, you were a big Mustang fan. I remember you had a picture of a Mustang in your office that you bought.
Yeah,
I guess maybe before you were married, even. I'm not sure.
Yeah, when I got out of college, right at first I bought a couple of crappy little used cars, but once I felt secure enough, I bought a 1968 Shelby GT500 KR.
Oh baby, it went all the way. Yeah.
And
there's some old bucks out there that are salivating now. I know it.
But anyway, I've been a Mustang guy since that. And in fact, right today we got 2 Mustangs in the driveway. We got a convertible and a coupe. So
it's stuck.
Oh yeah, we've had a bunch of Mustangs over the years, and I wish I would have kept that Shelby, but
I was going to say, if you had a garage full of them, you'd be a multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
If you just parked them in the barn.
He'd say, "Dave, I can't do the podcast interview. I'm down here. I'm in the Caribbean, sipping drinks or something."
Yeah.
But hey, let's talk a little bit about your family now.
No, Bev and I just celebrated 50 years in April.
Hey, congratulations! Man, that's great.
We have 4 children, and they range in age from 39 to 49. So the 4 children. My oldest son's in Baltimore. He works for NOAA. He's like a hydrologist. Yeah,
NOAA?
National Oceanic and
Oceanic, yeah. Okay.
Anyway,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
and my older daughter, she's here in Henderson, or just live outside of Henderson. She's basically over the years have been in the healthcare industry. She was doing uh, dialysis for a long time, but she just got tired of burnout with that. So now she does like home care.
Okay.
My younger son, he's in the air conditioning HVAC business, and
Okay.
in a management role in the HVAC.
I remember when he started in that. I do remember that. Yeah.
And my younger daughter, she's 39. She's not married, but the other 3 are married. But she travels all over the world with her job. She works for a company that any new pharmaceuticals come around, the company tests them. You know, they're an independent testing company. What she does is she goes all over the world, in monitoring these tests and conducting the meetings. The results of these tests.
Okay. Yeah. So to try to determine the efficacy of the
of the
experimental drugs.
Right. In the country, she's been there. She's had a great career on this.
That is a great career.
She loves to travel, and when she's not traveling for the company, she's traveling on her own. Just like I said.
Tell you what, if I ever get reincarnated, I want to come back as her. That sounds great.
She loves to travel. So we got 9 grandchildren and 3 great grandchildren, and we have a lot of time with our grandchildren here. They stay at the house a lot. We got one little granddaughter likes to be here all the time, but all the grandkids like to be around us. So we enjoy the grandkids.
Hey, John.
Yes.
Don't forget to tell everybody to listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Tell all the
Send
family.
it out,
and tell the crew.
Yep.
They'll enjoy listening to it. So we got to go, Dave.
You know what? We are, believe it or not, I've got a lot of questions I wanted to ask John yet.
Okay.
You guys had a quick chat beforehand about model trains, and I know you're a big train enthusiast.
I want to talk about this.
So why don't we make this a 2-part interview?
Okay, good.
And we'll come back and get you again for part 2, and you can
elaborate.
You can tell us about trains.
Yeah, I'm interested
about model trains because I've seen his displays and they're incredible, and he's published, and
I'll
let him talk all about that next time.
I knew we wouldn't have enough.
Okay.
So we're going to head out, Dave?
Listen, we are going to wrap it up. I'm going to say thank you very much, John, for
thanks for having me.
First part of a great 2-part interview, as it's going to be.
I want to thank all the listeners. This is Old Buck Dale saying thank you.
And this is Old Buck Dave right behind him saying, take care, everybody. See you next time. Bye-bye.